This is the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show. Dr. Meleeka has a background as a clinical psychologist, actress, director, model, and human rights activist. The Dr. Meleeka Clary Show will help move you towards bettering the quality of your life with positive psychology. So please welcome your host, Dr. Meleeka Clary.
It was an interesting moment for me at the time because I really wasn't seeking someone or anyone, I should say. I just hoped if I did meet someone that they would be a positive person to meet. Everything he was saying and doing was making me fall in love with him.
Custody. A lot of people quit going, that's just how it got to be. But she keeps on fighting and it takes a lot of guts. No justice, no peace!
You two are like two immature cartoon characters.
Objection. Where's any of this evidence of this?
Order! I'm sanctioning you for $15,000.
I have a right to see my son.
This is all about a child. A poor boy born into a battle. Even with your lies, I gotta survive. Said I'm gonna survive, I gotta survive. Even with your lies, I'm gonna survive, gotta survive. Said I'm gonna survive.
This is not justice. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice.
You're trying to have a judge removed.
I'll sanction her for thousands of dollars for coming to court.
How much money is Mr. K and Mr. E paying you and your fellow judges to keep this woman away from her child?
Said I'm gonna survive, I gotta survive. Even with your lies, I'm gonna survive, gotta survive. Said I'm gonna survive, I gotta survive. Even with your lies, I've gotta survive, gonna survive. Said I gotta survive, I'm gonna survive. Even with your lies.
Welcome to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV Network, where we're coming live. Oh, thank you, my friends, for tuning in. Did you just see that wonderful trailer? Well, you're going to see a lot of that because this year we're planning to have Three Corners of Deception movie come out publicly on streaming networks. So keep on following and keep on watching this podcast because we're going to be airing this a lot, actually. So I'm glad for that. You know what? I always have to open the door and say thank you, God, for allowing me to be able to do this segment another week, another day, and it's just a blessing. So I hope you get a lot of information and receive a lot of information for what I bring to you. So thank you for that. You know what? Today we have a marvelous guest, and he's been on this show, my mentor, Dr. Grant, and he is just amazing. He is a skillful clinical psychologist, over 50-something years of experience, but he's been with me for during my practicum and my perspectives and my internship. I mean, everything. So I'm always going to have him on my show numerous of times because he's so knowledgeable, and I asked him to be my guest again, and you will see him again because, like I said, he's my partner in crime here. I work with him, and we try to change the world and do as many things we can to do that. And today we are going to talk about conflict, relationship conflict, and I want him to be a guest to that because I notice I read a lot of emails from different people all over, and you talk about relationship and some other questions that you have, but today is about relationship conflict. So stay tuned. Come on in, my friends, while I welcome my guest, Dr. Grant, actually Dr. Brian Grant. Welcome, Dr. Grant.
Thank you, Meleeka. Good to see you.
It's always good to see you too. Thank you. And as you know, we talk about many things about our clients, and we try to just resolve conflict or issues, or just having the advice that we can give to people. And I have a lot of people all over the world that send me emails, and and I know these are always issues, relationship conflicts. I think that we're never ever going to have like just never a conflict. We're always going to have some type of issues if you want to be in a relationship, because we have two different minds that's coming together. And one thing I do want to ask you, and not even just ask you because I know the answers to, but I want our viewers to understand there are some things don't do, some things you do, some things you don't do when you have conflict. And let's talk about when you have a conflict and there's an issue from many years ago, and a past situation. I don't think it's very healthy to bring those situations up to your present argument. What is some helpful tools that you feel that would be a good idea not to do that, or a situation when you feel like you're going to bring something in the past? Because I think that damages relationships more than just the future, because you haven't got to the future of your relationship, and bringing something in the past is not really good to do. What kind of helpful tips do you offer to that?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is that I think all of us who are over 15 are in a relationship now are tempted to imagine that signals that meant something different was going to happen in some previous relationship, like
Mm-hmm.
she's never going to listen to me, or I can't possibly make myself understood. Those aren't necessarily true in the present relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
one needs to be able to say something like, I remember when somebody said something like this to me before, they were about to, fill in the blank. Uh, but I don't think you're like that. Can you tell me what it's like for you to hear that I've had that experience before and it scares me?
You know what? Before you even finish that, we are going to take a brief commercial, because I really want to dive into what you're saying. You know what I mean? So we will take a brief commercial. We will be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Do not go nowhere, fams. Do not go nowhere.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery, or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network, where we're coming live. Welcome back, my fam. We are still with our special guest, Dr. Grant. Welcome back, Dr. Grant.
Glad to be here again.
I'm so glad for you. Okay, well, we was talking about couples conflict, and you was getting into what did I hear? And we was talking about the past. And how I want to make sure people understand is that if you want to build your relationship, whatever happened in the past, you may want not to bring that up in your future if it's damaging. It's a situation that you resolved long time ago. Why keep on bringing it up? And I just think that's not healthy to do.
Well, I think there are ways to do it that are very unhealthy and ways to do it
Mhm.
that are valuable. Because hopefully, one thing that happens anytime we're in a relationship is that we're learning something. And one of the things that we're typically learning is how we make a mess of things and how we might want to do differently the next time around. So I think if one can say, well, this happened for me or to me or with me, but I know this is a different situation now. Uh, can we together find a way to get through this kind of dangerous patch in our connection? Uh, you know, anytime we're getting close to somebody, Malika, one of the
Mhm.
things that happens is that we discover emotions that we didn't know we had. And some of those are beautiful and exciting and
Mhm.
passionate, and others of them are just downright horrifying and
Yeah.
remind us of stuff that happened when we were little bitty kids that was unpleasant and frightening. And those come into the present, and we got to find a way to let a partner know, well, I'm feeling X, but I know that's not your fault. That's because of something that's happened to me.
That's
And
right.
it's my job to do something about that. It's not your job to fix it. It is probably your job to notice what I'm going through and hang with me while I get from one side to the other. Uh, but that's real different from saying, you know, blast it, you promised me X, Y, or Z when you didn't really. Uh, but I took a particular facial expression or a particular physical move as a commitment when that's not at all what was intended, even if it may have been intended when somebody similar did that 20 years ago. I, that blaming the other person for my feelings is, well, it's a good way to lose a relationship.
That's right. And I do believe that you can lose a relationship that way because, when I've noticed there's different people that I connect with and, clients, whatever the case may be, is that when you said healthy, bringing up in the past and unhealthy, I agree. You got happy moments. You could bring something up in the past. That's wonderful moments. That's a really good thing. But if it's something that's going to be like a cheap shot thrown at somebody, that's not healthy. And I think if people want to keep a relationship, they have to try not to do that because
Yeah,
only what you're doing is hurting the relationship.
yeah, it's not only unhealthy, it's unprofitable. I
That's
mean,
right.
if you want to be with somebody, you don't want to do things that screw up their wanting to be with you. Uh,
Mhm.
and attacking them for somebody else's failings, last week or 30 years ago, isn't going to get them to want to be with you.
That's right. Yes, and I agree with that. Yes, so you heard it here. Please take notes because those are not. I call them fair fighting tools
Yeah,
because they're not. That's not it's the way to go. Whatever happened in the past, do not throw it up today because that's not the conflict you're having today. Because a lot of people do that. We're talking about oranges and we're not talking about what happened last month. This is stay with the present. And I notice a lot of people have difficulties to stay in the present. We're talking about what happened just a minute ago, and you have to like pull somebody back in and say let's resolve this issue. That month ago was done. Let's talk about today. Just stay here. And I think that's when it escalates it blows up. Because now you got a laundry list of things that you thought was done, or you had resolution to, or moved on. Now you brought it all up in this conflict. And now you're focusing on talking about those issues, not about what prompt. So I always tell people cause and effect. A and B. A always happen first. B is always a reaction. Yes, that's what's going to happen because that's what you're doing.
Well, the important thing from my standpoint is that when you are in the present, you're working on getting all the way to the end of a conversation so that it really does finish it so you don't have the temptation of coming back to it tomorrow or next year and say, well, you did blah, 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 blah to me.
That's
I,
right.
I think people more often get in trouble because they stop talking too soon than if they talk too long. Um, and the business about knowing, okay, this is what you mean to be saying to me. This is what I mean to be saying to you. Are we understanding that? And do we see where we agree and where we disagree and how important the disagreements are? How do you weigh those against the real delight that we have together? And that needs to come to a place where we can tie off today's conversation so it doesn't leave something hanging out that somebody's going to grab hold of next week or next year and punish someone with.
Oh, you know what? That is really interesting that you said that. That's a good, understanding because you don't want to punish them for it. And I think a lot of people they do. They feel like, hey, I'm gonna punish you for this, and it's really not a good idea to keep doing that. And like you heard it right here. If you keep doing it, your relationship is just gonna weaken and weaken and weaken. By the time you know it, you're not gonna have a positive and healthy relationship. So think about it, people. That is not something you want to do, and that's very important. We're going to have more tips on relationships, but we are going to take a brief commercial, and we will be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Don't go nowhere, friends and family. Don't go nowhere.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Hey, welcome back, fam. We are still with the amazing Dr. Grant. Hey, Dr. Grant. So I'm so glad finish that off by, letting people know. And I'm sure we'll talk about other things too. But this is important that people, if you want to have a productive relationship, especially a healthy one, if you have a past, and if it's unhealthy past disagreement, please don't bring it up in your future relationship or your future disagreement, because it doesn't help you. So stop. Fair fighting twos is one of those big things with me. Do not use past arguments for your future, because on what you're doing is bringing yourself back to your past, and that is a place that you probably don't want to go. It's okay to have great positive moments, but this is not. It's a negative. So I just want to clear that. Dr. Grant, I noticed there's a lot of people also reach out about when's the time that if you're going through something, let's say you have a spouse or girlfriend or partner, whatever the case may be, and you're going through something at that moment, and your spouse or somebody, they call you on the phone or they come over, but they didn't know you was going through anything. And when does it, like, you should catch yourself so you don't take your anger on that individual? Because that is a case of mental abuse, I feel, because a lot of people in relationships, they think that because you're with this person so long, you have the right to just throw all your crap on this person mentally and hurt them, but they don't understand that that is a form of mental abuse as well. Because if you're having an issue that day and you find that this person is the best punching bag for you, I don't think that's healthy and that's not good. Yeah, people are doing it out there. What are some tips about try not to do that, because you're hurting the relationship again, regardless if that person knows you or not. They're not your punching bag.
Well, the way it looks to me is that different people in relationships have different levels of ability to allow the other person to have their own feelings. And, I wouldn't personally want to be with somebody who, if I was in pain or I was having a moment of real excitement or real terror, who wouldn't want to know that that was happening for me and join me in it. On the other hand, if I come out of a session and I'm really mad at somebody for something that happened in the session, for me to go and be really mad at my lady friend would just be stupid. I mean, because it would not get me what I wanted in that connection. But for her to be able to say, "Oh, I see where you're coming from and why you got that look on your face or why your gestures are like they are," uh, that's confirming. That helps both of us know that we're kind of in the same ball game together. Uh, you know, it the word punishment came up in the last segment, and it got me to thinking. Well, I don't think there's any time in a relationship between adults when one person punishing another person for anything is wise or healthy or faithful or fill in the blank. That you know we're all equals here, and what I may think of as what's right in my way of thinking may be completely different than what's right in your way of thinking. We each have a right to have those opinions, uh, and it doesn't make somebody bad because they disagree with us. And you know what's going to happen if I punish you is you're going to find a way to punish me pretty soon, and
Tip
we're
for
going to
tat,
go
yeah,
round and round again. Uh,
that's right.
and of course, some people thrive on that sort of ongoing cyclical conflict, but it's not good for your blood pressure or your immune system, or certainly for staying connected to somebody you love.
That's right. And I'm glad you said that, because I think people have to understand you are talking to a person that you love. So targeting them that's not showing that you love them. I mean, you got to think about it. Think about it. Take a step and realize, wait a minute, I'm on this phone with a person I actually love, I care about. I don't think I should talk to this individual like that. Even though you're having a bad day, get off the phone. And you know what? Take a minute for yourself. Not a good time to talk. I think it's a good idea to say that because you like you said, you are able to go ahead and feel a certain way, but that doesn't mean that you have a right to sit up there and just go at it with this person. And I don't think that that is just right. They're looking at you like, you every time you blow up because it's you're not having a great day, you're looking at this person and they happen to call you at that time because we know either our spouse or a person that you're dealing with, they call you more than once because that's the person you have a relationship. So they may call you, how you doing? How's your day? That's because that's what they're doing. That's not because they want you to go ahead and go off on them. It doesn't work that way, and it's not fair. It's not fair for both people, but I mean, it's not fair for that person that's actually involved. And I say this to the other person, not jumping on you. You're having a bad day, just jump on. Don't jump on the person that you love, because that's not showing love.
Yeah, and some people will say, "I want to know how you're feeling," and you know that's you can trust that. But other people, like I know back when I was married to my deceased wife, uh, I watch a lot of sports on TV. Sometimes I get very excited and often very angry about what some official has done, some team player has done, and I may want to snarl or, well, after a while, my wife started refusing to sit in the room with me while I did that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's a clue, Brian. If you want to stay connected to this woman, don't emote around her, even if it's not at her, and she knows it's not at her. She just doesn't want to be around a porcupine. And
That's right. I'm so glad you said that. You know what? We're going to continue, but yes, you're absolutely right. We will be right back. I'm going to take a brief commercial. We'll be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Don't go nowhere, fam. We're still with Dr. Grant.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network where we're coming live. All right, we're still with the amazing Dr. Grant. Welcome back, Dr. Grant.
Good to be back.
Oh, yes, thank you. You know what? I'm so glad that you gave me some helpful tips and you're giving everybody helpful tips about conflicts, relationship conflicts. And before we left and we were talking about that, you know, people need to understand you're not going to have a healthy relationship if you keep it up. It's just not going to work. And nobody wants to be on pins and needles just to have a conversation with you. So if they have to do that, then you kind of like telling the person that you don't want to be in a relationship because no matter how you look at it, they're never going to be able to have a relaxed conversation with you or be around you, and you're just going to be intense. And I think that's some people need to understand. It's difficult, but you got to understand both sides. And like you were saying, if you're doing something like you're watching football and it's excitement, that maybe that's the time a person who's your spouse is like, you know what, do your thing. I'm gonna be in this room. I'm good. See, that's when you say to each other, you actually know each other. Oh no, football on, going shopping. Bye, baby. Oh no, let him have his moment. What you want? You want some chips, or she wants her chips, or whatever. I will make you comfortable. But this is my shopping time because you are interested. That's knowing each other. That's healthy to me because you know each other and you know you're not trying to let him. You're trying to let him know or her know. I know you get excited. That might be your thing. You love it. It makes you feel good. I'm gonna go because it don't make me feel that great dealing with you.
Yeah, yeah, right.
So I'm just gonna keep it at 100. So I'm gonna go and do the thing I like to do, and let you do the thing you love to do. So there you go, meeting grounds, and that's healthy, people. That's healthy. Here's another thing that I noticed that people do, and when is there a number of time or before you go to? I want to say 10. If you have an argument, a disagreement, or a conversation that makes you just go, woo, when do you go from one and you shoot to 10? Because I notice when people have disagreements, it's just not even a disagreement, it could be just a statement. You have to know the level of taking that so it won't go to 10. I mean, how do you make a statement and the other person is only at 1, and the statement brought the other person to 10 when it's just a statement? No one's charging at each other about anything, just statement.
Well, that's an intriguing one. And I know that most often when that happens, what
Mm-hmm.
has been going on is that whatever the stimulus was tapped into something very old and primitive
Yeah.
and generally not conscious in the other person. So you're getting you know, the level one. I don't like that political opinion, but tacked onto it is that this other person who had that political opinion, yesterday or 2 decades ago, really hurt me by the way they used it. And you're bringing it up just enrages me, even though I know that you're not them. Uh, you know, can you kind of help talk me down so that I
Mm-hmm.
don't make a mess here all over the floor? And I think that happens pretty often amongst
Yeah.
people. And again, that knowing each other kind of helps you know in what territory you need to make statements cautiously. You know, one of the great geniuses of our kind of work uh, once wrote, and he was talking about psychotherapy, but he could have been talking about marriage just as well, that the
Mm-hmm.
first priority is always listening for what the signals are about the health of the relationship between us right now. And
Yes.
if you pick up something that says, uh, we're in trouble right now. We need to stop and deal with that right now. Uh,
Yeah.
and if we're exploding all over the floor, we need to get real clear why that's happening and do something that keeps us from punishing one another for something that generally one another doesn't have a blessed thing to do with. But they just happen to kind of light the match, not knowing that the room was full of gasoline vapor. Uh,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah, you know what? And you're right about that because it's just because I could be in an argument or, anyone. I mean, we're not perfect individuals. You have a disagreement, but it's a disagreement, but I don't think it's a disagreement. It needs to go into a whole blown explosive because it may not be something that's it's opens the door for that. It may just be you're talking about something that you have no control of. It may not even be about your situation, but you're going to this level that is what's going to happen. It's going to stop communication. It's going to stop talking about other things that may not have nothing to do with you. You're just having a conversation. And I think that people need to understand. Maybe it's a conversation that you don't like. Maybe you guys need to figure out, let's don't have those conversations because I take them personal.
mhm.
You know, I think a lot of people, some people do that. They take somebody else's situation really in and they make it their own. And then it just becomes escalation of like, whoa, are you kidding me? That's just not something you want to you have. That's not the kind of conversation you want to have. So people, if you're doing that, you got to know your levels of talking with each other because you become really excited to a point that it becomes abusive in a relationship because that's not I don't think you want to do that because when you're getting really loud, it's no one can hear each other. And I think that's a power struggle too. But you know what?
Yeah.
Before you comment on that, because I know power struggles are very big. We are going to take a brief commercial, and we will be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Don't go nowhere, fam. Be right back.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Well, we're coming live. Welcome back, Dr. Grant.
Good to see you again.
I know. I just love it. I just love it. You know what, Dr. Grant, we were when before we left on commercial, we was talking about power struggle. I know there's a lot of people that want to have power over each other, especially when you're arguing. You know what? Any helpful tools about that? Because I always tell my clients, if you're arguing and you're trying to get louder so you think you can get your point across, it doesn't really help you because it really if you have to get louder, the other person is not listening. You're losing because no one's listening.
Mhm. Well, I think people can't help but wanting to be powerful. And the question is, how do you go about sharing power? How do you communicate to the other that, I feel really strongly about this, but I realize you may feel really strongly about it in the other direction. And
Mm-hmm.
it's, I think we can learn to catch ourselves when we are trying to impose our opinion or our feelings or just our physical size or the strength of our voice or you know our feeling like we're smarter than the other person or have a bigger vocabulary or whatever. If we catch ourselves at that, often we can, well, one, we can apologize. Oh, I know I did this. uh,
Yeah,
and the other is, okay, when you stop one behavior that isn't working, it creates some space for some other kind of behavior to be invented. Uh, and it's, certainly you see, and I see people in relationships uh, for whom it's really important to feel like they can overpower the other one. Uh, but, that always produces retaliation. And
hmm
it's not something you want. Like, I can remember this time when I was about 10 that I
hmm
realized that I had more power than my mother, and that I, I could listen to her when I wanted to, but I didn't have to when I didn't want to. And no, I don't think I ever told her that. I think it would have been cruel to say, look, you can't make me. Uh, but
hmm
knowing it kind of gave me a sense of sort of being upright and in charge of myself as a human being. Uh, and I think we all need that in our moments of conflict, but we need it without trying to say, I'm bigger, stronger, more dangerous, smarter, whatever than you are. Because, people will always try to find a way to prove us wrong. And then,
That's
then
right.
where are you? You're back in the box
hmm
already. It's a long way
That's
from the base.
right. That's right. You know, I'm so glad you said that, and that's very valuable. You know, one thing I noticed a lot of people they put each other down. I mean, why are we doing that? Why are there's so many people think that they have the right to put another person down. You may feel this way, but is it really benefiting your relationship? I'm always going to say fair fighting tools, people. Remember, this is a person that you love. Why are we putting each other down? Is that healthy to tear another person down of even if they have certain mishaps? Why do
Well,
that?
you know the answer to that question. Of
Of
course
course
not.
I
It's not.
do.
Uh, the critical thing, as I look at it, is that all of us have at times felt overpowered and demeaned by the
Mhm.
world. And
Mm.
all of us at times feel like, gee, we like to be able to be the person on top rather than the person on the bottom of a connection. But uh, to do that in a relationship with somebody you care about, and of course, we ought to care about everybody, but our intimates, the people that we count on the most for love and support, and all that stuff. Uh, if we're trying to show that we can be okay by making you not okay, we're going to
Mm.
lose. That's all.
That's right.
And it ain't fun to lose, but uh, it's there's got to be somewhere else to get those competitive urges out. I mean, I think I think that's why I yell at football games. You know, I can think that that referee is an idiot, and even if I'm annoyed at my wife or whoever I'm with, I don't have to make her feel like I think she's an idiot. I,
There you go. Hmm. You know what? And I hear you on that because I think people don't understand they need not to do that. And we're only human creatures. I get it, but it doesn't make a relationship stronger if you're going to tear the other person down, if you're going to make them feel less worthy. Only what you're doing is making them not want to be with you.
and
And
also you're impoverishing yourself because we all want to be with a partner who is intact enough and has enough going for them to give something to us. And if we humiliate them and make them feel like anything they offer us isn't going to be valued, well, we lose. Uh,
that's right.
we lose even if they stay with us to have it happen again. But Lord, who wants to be with somebody you feel so superior to? Uh,
There you go. That's right. You know what? You're right about that. And, it's another thing you mentioned, a person who's with you is value. When I say value, it's something they may help you with. And I don't think it's good for people to say, you don't help me with anything. You don't do this, you don't do that. Well, if let me just open people eyes on something. If your spouse or your loved one, your partner, they're sitting down listening to you and you have a bad day, they're doing something for you. Because guess what? They're listening to you. So don't ever say they're not doing anything. Now they may do other things, but that's the first thing. You should never just say no one who's in your relationship, in your circle, is not doing anything for you. Because listening to another person's problems is not always easy when you're a spouse or you're a partner or something. Why? Because everybody wants to be heard. So sometimes they just sit back and listen and listen. And if they're trying to give you feedback or something, that's a valuable because they're trying to do something for you. They're trying to help because they care. They don't have to do that. See? So think about that, people, because that's very important. And on that note, we are going to take a brief commercial and we will be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Be right back. Don't go nowhere, fam.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. We discover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Welcome live. We're still with Dr. Grant. Welcome back, Dr. Grant.
Thanks, Meleeka. Always good.
Oh, yes, thank you. Well, I'm so glad that you was a guest on the show today. And I think we covered a lot of information. And I hope that we are helping many viewers out there because these are things that people send me emails, are always here, and these are big conflicts. Now, we're not done. We are going to continue talking about relationship building. We'll continue to talk about other things too. But before we go, I do want to mention before I, get your contact information and allow the viewers to follow you or anything like that. One thing I do want to stress to people, and if we can briefly say this, this would be great. If you are in a relationship and you love the person, I really want to recommend that how important it is not to try to hurt the other person's feelings just because you can. And when I say that, it's because people know little stabbing wounds that somebody went through and they know how just to get them just there. And I think, and that to me is still mental abuse, but it's not good for you to do that because you're hurting the relationship if you want to grow this relationship. And that's a real big problem to diminish your relationship to have no relationship.
I wouldn't argue against that. I think
Yeah.
people that have researched this sort of thing will tell you that pretty much any instance where one partner feels diminished or dismissed by the other, or demeaned by the other, increases the probability that that relationship will end.
That's right.
And that's costly, painful, and
Mhm.
doesn't do either partner any good.
Yes. And I totally agree with that. And I say that because I have many clients, but I just know that those are big things. And you're thinking, and we mentioned already about the power struggle, but that's part of trying to get power, people. And because you're throwing cheap shots at somebody and you're really hurting their feelings and you're making them like this because you want the power, you're really not getting the power. What you're doing is sending them out there to try to seek for somebody else, or they'd rather be by themselves because peace is better than being with this person. So think about it, people. Think about it. So, with that being said, you know what, Dr. Grant, it's always a pleasure to have you on my show. And I love all the insight and information because you're so knowledgeable. But let's say if people want to reach out and follow you or anything, if they want to, get in contact with you, how do they do that?
Um, my email is cbgrant1 at att.net. That's probably the best way. I don't have a Twitter account or I'm on Facebook, but not professionally. So that if somebody really wants to find me, the email is the best, and I can be found on Google and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh, good, 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 good. Well, thank you again, Dr. Grant, for being my guest, and I really appreciate it. So, if you want to get in touch with Dr. Meleeka Clary, just drmeleekaclary.com. You can do that, or you can Google me, Dr. Meleeka Clary or Meleeka Clary. It's fine. I'm all over Google and all the social medias. If you go to the website, you'll see all the links to LinkedIn or Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So if no one said this to you today, I love you and I appreciate everything you do because you are a person and you're a human being. But I care about your mind, which connects to your physical. So please try to take care of yourself as much as you can. And may God be with you. And God bless you all. Thank you again for tuning in to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Enjoy the rest of your week.
You've been watching the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show. Tune in next week as Dr. Meleeka will help you shift towards a better life. But this show doesn't stop there. She'll provide helpful tips regarding surviving the entertainment industry and the judicial system with practical information. Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, here on the Bold Brave TV network.